Hey there, my friends. Derek here from Bomb Socks with more Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ one bite at a time. So we started off the week talking about consecration, and it kind of weaves through these sections here. In fact, you get into section 54. There's an interesting thing that happens as those are trying to follow the law of consecration. So this is June 10th of 1831. You got members of the church living in Thompson, Ohio, which is about 20 miles outside of Kirtland. They were divided on questions having to do with consecration of properties. In fact, selfishness and greed were starting to be manifest. Following his mission to the Shakers, which you remember this, Lehman Copley, who's the one who had joined the church from the Shaker community, he had broken his covenant to consecrate his large farm as a place of inheritance for the saints arriving from Colesville, New York. In fact, he had done it. These saints had moved on to there, and he's just like, never mind, just kidding, you guys are out. So as a consequence, Newell Knight, who was leader of the members living in Thompson, and other elders had come to the prophet asking how to proceed. The prophet inquired of the Lord and received this revelation, which commands the members in Thompson to leave Lehman Copley's farm and journey to Missouri, which we will talk more about tomorrow. So this new law of consecration requires a person to sacrifice things that they value so that everyone can be built up, including the person who sacrificed. But that creates some trials and some difficulties that could come with it when people, back out of it right there. So now hop over to section 56, and again, there's some dealing with properties here. The section heading tells you a little bit about Ezra Thayer, Frederick G. Williams' farm. There's some stuff going on here that's tough. So verses 1 and 2, I think, help understand this new law and kind of what is expected of members of the church. It says, "Hearken, O ye people who profess my name." That's an interesting statement. "Saith the Lord your God, for behold, mine anger is kindled against the rebellious, and they shall know mine arm and mine indignation in the day of visitation and of wrath upon the nations." In verse 2, "He that will not take up his cross and follow me, and keep my commandments, the same shall not be saved." So it's interesting. We don't speak of the cross very often in our faith, but it's a powerful metaphor. So what does it mean for someone to take up his cross and follow me? Well, I went to the Bible dictionary and I looked up cross, and this is interesting. You look what's brought up here. It goes through, it talks about it's a wooden structure upon which Jesus was crucified. We know that. Many of the world now think of it as a symbol of Christ's crucifixion and atoning sacrifice. However, the Lord has established his own symbols for his crucifixion and sacrifice, which is the bread and water of the sacrament. I used to think that when you see someone wearing a cross, you kind of are like, why are they doing that? But that is a person's belief in Jesus Christ. And so when you see someone outside our church who is wearing a cross, it's not a bad thing. They're showing how they believe in Jesus. Well, continuing here, it says, "In the scriptures, those who take up their cross," here's the answer to that question, "are those who love Jesus Christ so much that they deny themselves ungodliness and every worldly lust and keep his commandments." So how does a member of the church in 2021 deny themselves ungodliness and every worldly lust? Well, and that's a tough one in the world that we live in, where when you got worldly lust all over the place, it's a tough one, but you deny yourselves those things. This here, why is it so hard to take up your cross, but why is it so necessary for us to do this? Now, I saw this on a Christian website. I thought it was interesting. So you got all these people carrying their crosses, and you got this guy who gets tired. "Lord, please cut it down a little more. I'll be able to carry it better." And then it's cut down. "Lord, thank you so much." And so now there he is. He's carrying his cross, doing just fine. He's whistling. And then you get to this great chasm, this bridge right here, where these individuals are able to cross. And yet he see his cross, because he asked for it to be a little bit easier, he's not able to overcome this chasm right here, this difficulty. Well, quote from C.S. Lewis here, "The Christian way is different, harder and easier. Christ says, 'Give me all.' I don't want so much of your time and so much of your money and so much of your work. I want you. I have not come to torment your natural self, but to kill it." There you go. "No half measures are any good. I don't want to cut off a branch here and a branch there. I want to have the whole tree down. I don't want to just drill the tooth or crown it or stop it, but to have it out. Hand over your whole natural self, all the desires which you think innocent as well as the ones you think wicked. The whole outfit. I will give you a new self instead. In fact, I will give you myself. My own will shall become yours." Which is interesting, because here these saints are obeying the law of consecration, and it's difficult. You think about the things that would be blessings of following the law of consecration. You think about things that would be challenges of following the law of consecration. So I love this quote from Neil A. Maxwell, where he says, "Consecration thus consecrates constitutes the only unconditional surrender, which is also a total victory. So it's the only way to surrender and at the same time emerge absolutely victorious. In fact, as you give, and this is the principle of consecration, as you give, it is often returned to you even better. Great quote from President Benson here, Ezra Taft Benson, years ago. He said, "Try as you may, you cannot put the Lord in your debt, for every time you try to do his will, he simply pours out more blessings upon you. Sometimes the blessings may seem a little slow in coming. Perhaps this tests your faith, but come they will, and abundantly. It has been said, cast your bread upon the waters, and after a while it shall come back to you, toasted and buttered." That's the way the Lord works. So this idea of consecration and the taking up your cross, you give and the Lord then gives you all that back and then more. So back to this idea of taking up your cross. Think of a certain ungodly behavior or worldly lust that's in your life right now. Drop that behavior and pick up the cross instead, and watch what it does to your abilities to cross the difficult times in your life as you follow the Savior more fully. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys out. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing. We will see you tomorrow in Missouri. Bye-bye.